Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Alfayly from Kuwait. I'm representing IEEE Kuwait section and IEEE Kuwait section also, and cooperation with IEEE cooperation with IEEE Kuwait University Student Chapter. I will introduce the IEEE Kuwait section, what we have done in the previous 2 years before starting this session. We held IEEE second GCC SYP in 2019. It was held in April 2019. We had 5 competitions and more than 160 participants from different countries in GCC, Kuwait, Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, and UAE and Bahrain. This activity has been held previous 2019, 2020, before the pandemic, and everything has been changed. It was some activities in person, and now everything is online. IEEE Kuwait Student Chapter in 2020, while the pandemic, they hold 9 activities, all being happened online, trying to support students to moving to online learning. And I will have a discussion panel with Engineer Shada about how they experience the online learning. Kuwait YB Affinity Group was participating in organizing quarantine hackathon, and was also providing some workshops using Microsoft Teams, as well been agreed as the main platform for online learning in different organizations in Kuwait, such as Kuwait University, Public Authority of Applied Science and Training, and Ministry of Education. Today's session, we will have the rise of online learning during pandemic with Kuwait Student Chapter. I will discuss with Shada about how been raised the online learning, and we moved to online learning. Then we'll move to digital marketing to survive the pandemic with Adnan Akbar. Then we'll end up code in space out of this world programming opportunities for students with Dr. Bassam Alfayly. So now we go with Engineer Shada.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Shada, and today I will be discussing with Dr. Ali the rise of online learning during the pandemic. First off, we're going to have a discussion from the point of view of a professor and a student, and we will be discussing some questions. I hope that you guys participate as well. We will be seeing the chat, inshallah. So Dr. Ali, I would like to ask you, as a professor and as someone who's in Kuwait, how did online learning start in Kuwait, as a faculty, as an entire community? How was it that, we even initiated this idea and this thought?
Yeah, it's actually after the pandemic and the holiday being like extended, everyone, we was looking how we can kick-starting the education, and how we be assured that continuing of education in Kuwait. In my college, we was looking what kind of platform, because in previous days, we don't use an online platform for online learning. We already have like a Moodle, but it's not been actively used, and students, they don't use it. And we find out that we also have a Teams, Microsoft Teams, that everyone has a Microsoft 365 accounts. So we're starting to populating this with the students, with the faculty members,
Yeah.
and we run a series of workshops for faculty members. Then we start some workshops with the student to teach them how they use this program and how they can continuing their studies within this program.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is you actually did your research, because I know professors in my university, they actually had committees in order to initiate online learning, which is a huge step taken into consideration that Kuwait, not only as an educational system, but also as a country as a whole, did not have an online base or a database in order to initiate online learning or moving online in general. So that step was huge. In the face of the country and students in the educational system as well. So in your perspective as a professor, how do you think the negativities, how do you think we managed the difficulties that we go through? Because we used an OCS system and browser, and then we moved to Moodle. So how do you think this whole aspect was, in your opinion? Do you think this chaotic kind of situation actually affected professors and students?
Yeah, I think because it's like for, let's say, a majority of professors, not in School of Engineering or Science, the other schools, they find it's like first time for them to use an online platform for online learning. So they find it is very hard to cope with it, and they need more training. And because all the training being held online, so it's like kind of challenge how to get all information and being experts in their platform with online sessions. But like it's been like we're trying as professor views, we're trying to manage how we can deliver our content and our lectures online, and be assured that we can get the assignments and exams with the integrity, and it's like we have everything in right with the student. We know we suffer both. I always say to my student, like, it's a new experience for us as the professors and for you as a student, and we should collaborate to go through this experience and learn from it and get the best of it. And I think this is one of benefit of COVID, that keep running the online the online learning, and now everyone have some experience with it. Even people, I think, because previously some professors, they have a technophobia, that they don't want to use any technologies in their teaching. Now they are forced to use it, and they know the benefit of online learning, and they like it. So it's been like a very good opportunity also.
Yeah, but I also heard it's also exhausting for not only professors but also students when we're like sitting for hours and hours and on a screen. I do believe that you guys had meetings at night, and a lot of discussions late at night, because with the excuse of that you guys are being at home, so you're online and you have nothing to do. Is that true? I know that's true.
Yeah, I think with the curfew, like everyone, because in an online environment, like everyone, you find yourself, or you'll be free, and we can get a meetings in evening or in morning or anytime. No one has excuse that there will be a rush hour. I'll be at that point. I can reach you within like 1 hour or 2 hours. Everyone, you will have it on your phone. Okay, let's start meeting. So many meetings happen, and I think this meetings, we're trying to reform how we can deliver this and how we can approve this platform or this test platform for students. And what is good, like, because we find out Well, I've done research on online learning in Kuwait in higher education, and we have done some survey. We find so many students they don't have a laptop, so rely on smartphones or tablets. So
Yeah.
how we can deliver this will be suitable with mobile friendly, and we don't have crashes. I think like we can't approve this until we try it. And
Yes.
you see, during the course, we're changing the method of delivering everything.
Yes. Yes. So I'd like to share with you on screen. I did a survey yesterday asking not only students of university, but also university of student of a school of students, not only also in Kuwait, but also outside of Kuwait, about the online learning. It was basically I got 117 responses, so that's a good amount, as a sample. So my first my first discussion point was, do you think that moving from traditional to online learning in Kuwait or your country was considered fast or not properly researched? Unfortunately, a lot of people said yes, like 116 responses. So do you think that Kuwait as a country should have done more research in order to conduct online learning?
Yeah, I think Kuwait should do more. And already I work with my, two professors in my college. They are specialized in education and specialized in computer science. So we're trying to mix how we can improve the online education in Kuwait, and what's the weakness point, and how we is, because I think not and every scenarios will suit Kuwait. So some scenarios will suit like United States because their culture. Even like what I give you one example that people in United States have been in so many conferences for online learning, especially during the pandemic, and everyone trying to give some solutions. So in order to monitor examination, they have like two cameras, one facing the computers, one facing the student itself. But when we ask, can we apply this in Kuwait? And because we have some culture issues, and some people they refuse to use this method.
Show on camera,
privacy, and people sitting like everyone sitting with his family. Some people they don't have their own room, so they can't sit for 2 hours with the camera showing the 360 their room. So maybe their parents or their brothers will go around the room. So this is some challenges we should consider when we decide on online learning and how we can improve it.
Yeah, I believe that your point was right. Not everyone can afford laptops. Not everyone can afford phones or a proper internet connection. So we should conduct more research in order to initiate the online learning system, because if it doesn't stop here, which I know it won't, we should be ready for the next wave to come, because the majority of the students, especially kindergartners, or like kids who are starting online, things are not, if not researched properly, this could cause a huge problem in the educational system as a whole in Kuwait. So my next question here, it was kind of like an open question. What platform did your university or school use? A lot of students chose, like, they wrote Teams, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and Google, and Big Blue Button. I mean, I believe that Kuwait, I mean, it was a good initiative that we went for Microsoft Teams, because the thing is, in Kuwait University, we were already subscribed to Office 365, but we never got it to actually like work. We never actually used it properly. So I believe there's a positive side to this pandemic, that Kuwait, as a system, started to use the things that they paid for, like the systems that they bought. So I believe that's a good initiative for them. also asked what were the obstacles that you faced as a student or a teacher during the online learning, and a lot of people chose the options that were there. Most of it was serious stress, and 70% and 63% were like extra loaded work. So how do you think we could avoid that? Do you think the educational curriculums could be modified, or is it even an option because things are not looking um, as interest as we hoped it would? So do you think that modifying the curriculum could be an option in order to decrease the serious stress and the extra loaded work that people are facing?
Uh, yeah, I think what it's like an obstacles. When we say the obstacles, is more than technical parts, and I feel like more the technical part it can be solved, but the main part we should change is mentality of people
Yeah.
that they accept to go online, and maybe we've been delayed because so many people they trying to refuse. We want to wait, maybe we'll go in normal schooling. We don't want to go to online. They are afraid of, as I said, the technophobia. They won't use it. It won't be like a useful. So by now it's like we have trying this system, and everyone tried. So they can see how good is it, and what's the weaknesses in it, and we can improve it for
Yeah.
next time. And I think we will use it even after pandemic, because we have used the benefit of it. So like
Yeah.
I can give lectures wherever I am. I can send assignments or quizzes, and I get fast response, and I get it's like the workload was being like correcting the exams. The
Yeah.
paperwork is being is very fast now because it's online, have auto grading, and everything is smooth.
Yeah. So do you think the communication between the student and the professors in general, not only in Kuwait, but in the entire world, became easier since it was online? I mean, it's obvious, but what do you think is the benefit from all the fast communication that's been happening?
Uh, it's like I think the fast communication, and people before with the in person, they are shy to ask questions, or they don't have time to go to office hours.
Yeah.
But now with the fast communication, they can get more benefit, and they can, and like sharing the knowledge is more being
Become easier.
easier,
It became easier.
easier. Yeah, it's become easier. I think even Jared, he asked, how do you force the inner social skills and teaching the art of being a professional through online lessons? How you think it's like
I
important?
didn't catch the question.
How do you force the inner social skills and teaching the art of being professional through online lessons?
Uh, I believe, I mean, it's hard to express, your true art of teaching and true art of, the educational system online. It's not as before. I mean, when we were in like the normal in class, it was easier. Like you felt that educational vibe. Like you were there to learn. You were in college to learn. You were in school to learn. I mean, when we're at home, it becomes kind of difficult to be in that zone where a teacher should express his will to teach in the proper, not proper way, more like in the wanted way that he wants to or the level that he wants to reach. Like online teaching, I mean, the further we are from each other as a student and a teacher, the further the educational sense and the virtue of the whole aspect, it decreases. It becomes more not real in a way. Like I believe in, if students lose marks or if things happen, like you don't have that one-on-one communication with a professor or with a student. So that could be exhausting and it could be stressful sometimes for both professors and students. I mean, even though we did go online, I mean, we still feel far away from each other as the relationship between a student and a teacher. So the art of teaching and teaching methods, it gets kind of it gets kind of to an unwanted level at some point. But I mean, what can we do? You know, this is our only option right now in order to go online, and a lot of opportunities have happened online, not only in like teaching, you know, business, and all this has given the opportunity to people to express themselves more. But at the same time, you still feel that distance that distance between a student and a teacher, a businessman and, you know, his customers and all that. So yeah, it gets kind of hard, but I hope we're getting there, hopefully, I guess.
But it's like we all moved to online now.
Yeah, everything is online, so it gets
about online digital marketing.
Oh yeah.
So we'll hear from businessman and his customer what they feel with the online relationship.
So I did another question. Do you think that distance learning caused a gap between the students' understanding of the topic being taught, as in like the scientific curriculum? Do you feel that as a professor, as people who deal with people, not only professor, I would like, you know, everyone to like participate. Do you feel like your relationship between the person that you're talking to, not only in an educational platform, do you feel that it became more distant and like it was hard to understand each other during online?
It's like for me, it's like my experience itself. Like I feel like because most of lectures, as a student, they don't open the camera, so I feel I'm talking to myself. I'm trying to grab some response, so I put some activities, trying to ask some questions to get some feedback. Because before in normal class, I can see faces. There is some eye contact. I know that student, he has some questions. I can drop the questions. I can move my eye contact with the student. But with online, I'm talking to the screen. I don't know
screen,
behind the screen. And
yeah.
and we some stories, I think it's been a global, not just like in Kuwait, that some people like they go and play while the lecture's been running.
Or sleep.
Or sleep. So it's like how we can control this environment. So we should keep the lecture interesting, short, having some activities during the lecture to engage the student.
Yeah. So I also asked, so far as we're ending the term, how would you rate your overall experience? 1 being so bad and 10 being excellent. I mean, I don't know if you can see the 10, but only 7 people chose excellent, and I don't know who they are. I mean, I get it. Some people really benefited from online, but a lot of people took a slap in the face in that experience. But as far as I'm concerned, things inshallah are gonna get better if we, I don't know, get used to it. I mean, for me, I've been sitting for hours on my laptops, so it gets kind of exhausting health-wise. But I believe that if we do modify our ways of taking our education in a way, it could be beneficial for both students, teachers, and everyone. Do you feel like that could be an option to update, not update, more like to to improve the online experience? Do you feel like what do you think some resolutions could be conducted? What do you think some conclusions could be reached to?
It's like I think by time when we tried the online, we know like how we what strategies is working to bring the attention for students, what doesn't work, and how we can do the assessment. Assessment have so many ways goes. I know some people, some professors, they wanted to keep the traditional style. They write a paper and they scan it and they send it and ask students to do it in in period of time, like you have 2 hours to do it and it goes back. Some professors, they trying the take-home exam, so they do a take-home exam style. Some they trying to have loads of questions with a limited time, so they know that there will be no cheating. And I think so many strategies. But like I think while we're using online and we have testings, this is strategies. But by end of term, we know this is will work, this is will not work, and we can improve. And I think like even in a culture way, that I have my personal experience that when it was that one student, he said, "Oh, I'm driving the car and I make accident. So can you excuse me for this quiz? I get bad mark. I will not do it." I told them, "You are attending a lecture and doing a quiz while you're driving a car. This is totally unsafe. You should consider next time when you should stay in a good place to listen to the lecture and be in attention so you can answer the quiz." So I think even the culture, because some students or professors, they don't have the knowledge how to use the online. It's just like, is the online mean is we chatting in WhatsApp or Facebook? Or this is a serious lecture, I should have a proper set and listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what we've concluded through this discussion, that online learning could be improved, could be enhanced, and inshallah in the future things could, take a brighter turn. We are starting this whole thing as a team, as a unit, not only as a faculty, as staff and students and teachers, but also as a country and all around the world. We're all going through a pandemic, and it's not easy to deal with. And I believe that with some help and some more extra time to adapt to everything, I believe we could actually excel in what we're doing. Inshallah. I mean, I have some comments here, people venting and like letting their heart out about the whole online situation. But overall, I believe it was a good experience. It's a good experience that we're going through, but at the same time, it could have a lot of improvements done. And yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will move to the businessman, the entrepreneur, Adnan Akbar. He will share his experience with this pandemic and how we can survive using a digital marketing.
Hello, everyone. Let me just load on the presentation. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right. My name is Adnan Akbar. I'm the founder and managing director of eMarketKW.com, which I'll talk about briefly in this slide. I've coded eMarketKW.com in 2012 at home, which was purely an experimental project that I wanted to see how the online is improving in Kuwait in terms of retail. What do we do in eMarket? We sell products that help people communicate, which came very useful in the period of the pandemic. In 2017, we moved into the offline channels where we opened our first showroom. 2019 was the year of change for us. We started with putting a good investment into changing our website, into developing a new application for iOS and Android. And we pushed all of our resources to go into social media and marketing. And we did a lot of collaborations with social media influencers, which we chose carefully. And we did a lot of collaboration as well with NGOs and different institutes. And in 2020, we planned in 2019 to go all offline in 2020. Before knowing that everything would change, we decided that everything in the marketing should be offline, and billboards and transportation, advertising, printed press. And we have taken the step to open our next showroom, which would be also a major main showroom in the biggest mall in the region. And we wanted to focus on getting new products to the market which help people. Now, all of this got affected at the beginning of 2020. So we had to change the plan. Plan A was a total failure because of this unprecedented situation that we were in. We tried to find new approaches. We planned again and again and again till we found that we had to go back to digital marketing, which was one of the challenges, marketing to people, because we had to put a new plan, and communicating with people through the pandemic. So we replanned our strategies for 2020, and based on that, we hired a lot of people for offline, and we allocated a lot of resources for offline. Now, with the pandemic in February, we had to reallocate our resources to serve our online purpose. So whoever we hired for showrooms and customer service, we had to reallocate them to communicate with people digitally. So all of this resource allocation was happening at the beginning of the pandemic. We started brainstorming, and we put a lot of plans that some of them went well and some of them didn't go through very well. So after that, we decided that our service would be our best marketing strategy. Whatever we provide the customers during this period, that they would never forget. We wanted to keep the service good and to improve on whatever we have missed during the past years. So we focused on our services through digital means, all of the digital means. Beginning of the pandemic, there were a lot of challenges that we had to deal with. The first thing that we've noticed is one of the most crucial things that got affected is availability of the products. A lot of people want products, but manufacturing got affected and shipping got affected. All of the airlines and shipping companies were stopped, and a lot of factories were shut down or working on 20% of their capacity. So we had to make sure that whatever we market and e-market through the pandemic would be products that we have and products that people would need, which are crucial for their communication. Online ordering at that time soared, and because of the lockdown and closing all of physical outlets, the online ordering saw a very high increase. So we had to deal with delivery. The first thing that we thought of is to improve our delivery service and to market this to our customers. So what we did is getting a high number of deliveries with a low capacity of drivers. We decided to create an online page in our website to tell customers that these are the updates for our services, and this is what you're going to get during this period of lockdown. So we didn't close down the digital channel, which is the online store and the application. We kept on getting orders and used email to communicate with our customers on when are they going to get their deliveries after 21 days of lockdown. We got a lot of orders and we had to plan how to deliver them, and we made sure using the digital channels to tell them that yes, you will get your order at that time. Now, after doing this, we realized that customer loyalty is one of the important things. Because of the pandemic, we could not communicate to our customers through phone or in person. Because of we have shut down the customer service center, and everybody was working from home, so we could not communicate through phone with customers. What we did is, at that time, we decided to make sure the customers get the service, and at the same time, we keep the communication with them. So we used our social media channel in marketing the services, and we used email marketing to make sure the customers gets the updates. And we did fully free delivery for customers. So whenever they want to order something, the shipping would be free. If they order once or twice or three times, they don't have to worry about paying more for deliveries. All of this created the word of mouth that we wanted, because you cannot communicate with your customers directly. You have to put whatever you want to say in text, and they have to interpret this the way they see it. This has created a good experience for the customers through a platform that we have used for customer service through email only. And through those platforms, we got a lot of requests that we had to deal with in a short time. So we focused on replying to customers in 30 minutes. This was the average response time to our customers through email, to make them feel that email is a good mean of communication. And even if they cannot call the office, which is closed, everybody is working from home, they can send an email and they can get the response in a good average time. All of this created the word of mouth that we wanted for eMarket, providing a very good customer experience. And based on that, we got a new customer behavior. Everybody was engaged in this time humanly with us through social media. We got a lot of engagement in our Instagram account. We got a lot of engagement through emails. People are thanking us for such a good service. And whoever wanted to return an item, we made return very easy. Whenever you want to return an item, you just send an email. Even if the period of return has passed, we take in consideration that we are under curfew. And whenever the curfew is lifted, we'd come and pick it up, taking all the measures of safety. What are the means of digital marketing that we have used during the pandemic? We replanned, we brainstormed, and we decided to go for three main platforms. On Instagram, we used the free tools of posts and stories to tell people about what is happening at the back end. We're still working. We still have our meetings with the management to do the right marketing, to provide the right service. At the other side of this, we have used the paid ads in Instagram to make sure that we have a good reach of the availability of products where people are in need of. We have provided tools for people to make their lives better and to ensure that they are educating in this period. We focused on devices that they can access the internet in, and they can reach for information they want, and they keep on educating throughout this period, like Amazon Kindles for reading, or iPads for research, or laptops the same. Then we moved into Google Ads. In this period, we also focused on search engine optimization to make sure that people, when they search for us, they would find us at the top of the list. They don't have to work hard in finding a place that provides a good service for people in this period. So we have put a lot of investment in search engine optimization to get at the top of the list in Google search for free. And on the ads and marketing in Google, we did not go for search and display. we focused on shopping advertisements. We made sure that whatever is available in our online and application is immediately shown in Google. And based on that, whatever is available, whatever they search for, they get e-market at the top of the list, and at the same time they get the product shown on the side of the screen with the price. So it was easy for them to find us, get the product, and get the best experience that we could provide at the time. Through Google Ads, shopping ads specifically, we reached more than 14 million impressions in over 30 days. And we got around 100,000 clicks that directed people to e-market, which in return we had to deal with as a new challenge to tell people that, yes, we are here and we can definitely serve you the best way. One of the other things that we have used in marketing is the email flows, automatic email flows. We wanted to give more to people. So what we have decided to do is whenever you order, because we did not have this human touch with people, we could not communicate through phone or in person. We wanted to give a personal touch to people who order from e-market. So what we did is we focused on automatic email flows. When you order one time in e-market, we thank you through email. When you order the second time, we tell you you are officially part of e-market family and helping us and reaching for our success. If you order 5 times, you get an automatic email with a discount code for your next purchase, which helps us in return. And one of our main principles is to give people more. Whatever we make in e-market, we should in return give in this unprecedented period. So email marketing and reaching to people was one of the personal things that we communicated with customers, and it replaced phone calls and in-person communicating. Through this time, there was a lot of opportunities if we look at it positively. There was a lot of time to think about the experience that we give to people and to consider new approaches to the market, which we were too busy to think about. In Kuwait, we had 21 days of total shutdown. This helped us sit and think and read and find the best way to provide something new to our customers and to help a lot in having such a good experience. And whenever they need something, they would get it in a good time. So giving more was one of the things we were happy to do during the pandemic. We have seen a lot of periods of up and down in business where sometimes things are good, sometimes you have to go through a lot of unexpected problems. But during this time, we have seen something we have never seen before, and we had to deal with it and improvise based on the situation we are in. And it was such a good experience and such a good opportunity to have such a good personal touch with customers without even having to talk to them over the phone. We used all the digital means, and it was such a successful plan that we have put for our customers, and we had a very good feedback in return. I think this is all for me. I'd like to thank Dr. Ali Alfayly for giving me this wonderful opportunity to just lay out my experience of having one of my projects that I started personally through the pandemic, and it's one of amongst other projects that I have, but today maybe this is the only thing that I wanted to basically talk about. Thank you very much, Dr. Ali.
Thank you, Adnan. And we will give you some questions at the end of this talk.
All right,
we,
thank you.
we go to another dimensions, and we start from online learning, then digital marketing, and now with space. And what's space opportunities with Dr. Bassam Alfayly?
Thank you, Dr. Ali, and also I'd like to thank my fellow panelists for their interesting discussions. I really enjoyed it. Before I get started, how much time do I have, just to make sure? Are we okay with time, or should I speed up?
Yeah, you're okay with time.
Okay. Let me share my slides here. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So since this is a conference that targets students and young professionals, I thought this would be a good opportunity, and this is my goal today, is to show you and draw your attention for your consideration for a new opportunity that it's becoming very, very popular, and I think it's gonna be something very important in the near future. So I hope that I achieve my goal tonight by doing that, by drawing your attention to this opportunity, and hopefully you will take advantage of it and use it for your future careers. Whether you're a student after you graduate, or if you're a young professional, then maybe this is something that you should consider as a career or as a business. So I would like to start with the question, what is new space, also known as Space 2.0? Now, to know what new space is, we need to explain what it is, right? So we need to explain what's old space to know new space. The launch of the first satellite in the late 50s and sending the first man to space in the early 60s, to the landing of man on the moon in the 70s, were the result of space race during the Cold War between US and the USSR. For a very long time, as you probably all know, access to space was limited to only few countries. Even within these few countries, it was limited to military institutions or government agencies. However, in the in the early 2000s, the government monopoly on access to space came to an end, and the door was open to the private sector companies to access space with much more freedom. This was mainly because of government budget cuts in funding space activities, so they were lacking funding. And the other reason was also to allow the private sector to come up with more innovative ways to reduce the cost of accessing space, because as you may know, it's very expensive. So just to show you, back in the 1966, there were only 6 countries that operated satellites. There were USA, USSR, Canada, the UK, Italy, and France. And out of those 6, only 3 nations had the capability to launch to space. And those were obviously USA, USSR, and France. Now, in 2016, and this is 50 years later, we see the map. We have around 75 countries that owned or operated satellites. And out of those, 10 nations have now space launch capabilities. And these are, in addition to US, and now Russia, EU, China, Japan, India, Israel, Iran, North Korea, and New Zealand. So one of the main features of this what's so-called new space is decentralizations. And this is, of course, in order to distribute risk. As you know, space business is very risky. So they had to find a way to distribute that risk. Also, to facilitate and simplify procedures. Also reduce the burden on the decision makers, and also achieve faster and more efficient and effective operation and progress. So we can see here in this diagram, and this is a comparison between old space and new space, that in old space we see few companies, but they were huge companies, and they cover the entire value chain. So companies like Boeing, you know, they or Airbus, they have done everything from launching spacecrafts to making satellites to providing services to data. They covered the entire value chain. Now in the new space, we see something different. We see that we have much larger number of companies, but they are small and specialized. So a single company can maybe do one or two things as opposed to cover the entire value chain. Now, another thing that we see is the development of a wider range of commercial applications. And thus, this, of course, will reduce cost. We see several players now in the telecom sector, like SpaceX, which is, you know, SpaceX is mainly a company that launches spacecrafts with their rockets. But now they entered the telecom business with their Starlink project, which is to provide broadband internet via satellite. Also, Google did the same thing with OneWeb. In the Earth observation segment, we also see Planet and Spire, who use large constellations of nanosatellites, which I will explain what a nanosatellite is in the next slides, for applications such as tracking of ships, airplanes, and weather patterns, and so on. You know, now that we know what new space is, I would like also to tell you about its prospect in the coming years. Significant investment in the satellite industry is expected in the coming years. By 2027, over 3,000 satellites will be launched, with total investment of over $280 billion. So you can see that there's a lot of investment in the coming years in this sector. Here in this diagram, you can see that satellites can be classified based on orbit, and this is because of the way their applications and the way they are used. So some are in low Earth orbit, some are medium orbits, and some in geostationary Earth orbits. And of course, there's also spacecrafts going to deep space, such as like missions to the moon, mission to Mars, or missions even to asteroids. Also, satellites can be classified by their size. So you can see there are different sizes. And I would like to draw to your attention to what they call nanosatellites. Nanosatellites are the smallest class of satellites. They come in many shapes, such as cubes. So one shape is a cube, and they call them CubeSats. And that's why the name according to the shape. A CubeSat, as we mentioned, is a miniature cube-shaped satellite used mainly for space education and research. It is the smallest unit, which is called 1U. It's about 10 by 10 by 10 centimeters with a maximum mass of 1.3 kilograms. Of course, you know, we can stack these 1 units into bigger satellites. You know, we can go up to 24 units to make a large satellite. Now, the advantages of such type of satellites, they are built in a very short time, so we can have one within 24 months. As opposed, you know, if you're building a large satellite, it might take up to 7 years to make it. It uses simple and accessible technology, so it's all off-the-shelf components. So things that you can buy online over the internet, very, very accessible components. It does not contribute to space pollution or junk, which is something that of a concern right now, because as we're launching more and more satellites, junk and pollution in the upper atmosphere of our planet is something of a concern. However, these small satellites, they do not contribute into that for the reason because they are small and they're so close to the atmosphere. After maybe 3-4 years, they will re-enter Earth and basically evaporate in the atmosphere from heat friction. We say that also because they are low cost, then they're accessible to university students and even high school students. We've seen examples in US and Europe where high school students work on such projects. Now, the type of missions that can be implemented within CubeSats include educational projects, technology demonstration, scientific research, and even some commercial services. CubeSats are typically launched into low Earth orbit. We're talking about between 200 to 700 kilometers above sea level. Here you can see the number of CubeSats increasing over the years, talking from 2005 to 2018. We see remote sensing is increasing significantly, as well as technology development. And there is a reason for that. And that's because now commercial companies are using these Cube satellites, which were originally designed for educational purposes, but now they're being used in commercial services. And here this graph shows you that the majority of CubeSat by end users are mostly by commercial, and then the second users are universities, and then there are some other applications like military and civil. Looking at the type of applications, the focus is engineering and also earth sciences. And this is, again, it comes back to the drive from the commercial side. Engineering is to develop new technologies that could be of a service to people on Earth, such as remote sensing or broadband internet or other advanced applications in communications. And of course, earth science is also very important, and that's because it's driven mostly by university research and university students. Now, of course, CubeSats are a great idea. However, they also have issues and limitations. Because of their low cost and cheap, and this is by design because we want to allow students to use them and be able to have such projects. They usually launched in a ride-share scheme. So basically, there will be a large satellite that's going to space, and then they will put these small satellites in the empty space, along with the big satellite. So it's called a piggyback launch or a ride-share launch. However, because it's a much cheaper way of going to space, it's usually very uncertain when it comes to orbit insertion, and that's because their main purpose is to launch the big satellite. So sometimes you don't know exactly where they put these small satellites. And as we said, because they are in the low Earth orbit, they experience orbital decay. So over time, their orbit will change. So yeah, maybe you launch it at with your target. Let's say I want to launch it at an orbit of 400 kilometers, and I made all my designs and setup as far as ground station and everything with that assumption. But over time, because of drag from the upper atmosphere, it will decay and lower its orbit, and then eventually it will burn and disappear. Another thing is also limited access time. Because of the low Earth orbit, makes the line of sight communication between the CubeSat and ground station is very limited. So we're talking about you'll access the satellite at any given ground station between 3 to 4 passes per day. And each pass, you're talking about on average 10 minutes, and sometimes it could be as low as 7 to 8 minutes, and sometimes as high as 12 minutes. Therefore, we need to figure out a way to increase access time and find better ways to determine the exact position of these satellites over time. So what kind of solutions that have been proposed? One of the main solutions is to have a distributed ground station network. And in this case, you have multiple ground stations, spread all over planet Earth, but they are connected through the internet. And then, we can use that to communicate with these satellites as they pass over different locations. So we can have almost continuous communication with the satellites as it orbits Earth. Also, when it comes to positioning, we can use these ground station in what they call reverse GPS. So basically, if you have multiple ground station and they're receiving the signal from the satellite, you can pinpoint the exact location of the satellite as if it was reverse GPS, where in GPS is usually you have multiple satellites pinpointing an object on the surface of the Earth. Here we can do the reverse, where we can have multiple ground station pinpointing the position of the satellite in space. So what goes into a CubeSat? And just want to give you the basic principle. This is how it looked like. Usually it's just this is a 1U cube satellite. Usually the main components, we're talking about attitude determination and control system. And this is the system that controls the movement and the position of the satellite while it's orbiting space. Of course, we have onboard computer, and this is the brain of the satellite. We have a communication subsystem which allows us to communicate with the satellite, and of course, electrical power system, and that powers the systems on the satellite. You can see here that everything is focused or centralized within the onboard computer, because this is the brain of the satellite, where it interfaces with the communication subsystem to receive commands or send data back to ground station, and then it coordinates the different subsystems, whether it's the control system or the power system, or even the payload, whatever the payload is on the satellite, then it can help control that. Now that we understand the basic concept of what CubeSats are, I would like to introduce you to QMR Kuwait, or Qamar al-Kuwait in Arabic, which means the moon of Kuwait. This is the first Kuwaiti satellite. It was developed in collaboration with Endurosat. It will be launched by SpaceX, and then once it reaches space, then there will be an orbital transfer and deployment by a company called Momentus. And right now we are scheduled to be launched in April 2021. Now, this satellite will be a platform for an initiative we call Code in Space. Code in Space is basically an international online programming opportunity for students. And we're talking about students from not just only Kuwait, but all over. I mean, any students from around the world can participate in this opportunity. What our goals are, we try to increase awareness about the current opportunities and the challenges in the satellite industry. As I mentioned, now we are getting into what we call new space, and there are many opportunities and challenges that we would like to make the students be aware of and maybe get them interested in. We would like to encourage and empower students to design and develop new concepts that could contribute to the advancement of satellite technology. Now, you might ask, okay, why should I join? Why this is beneficial to me? Well, it will be beneficial because you will have a platform where you can actually access real space hardware in orbit. So basically, we will give you the opportunity to use Qamar Kuwait when it's launched in space to learn about satellite flight software and how to work with embedded systems. As I mentioned, there are many subsystems in the satellite that you can develop software to communicate between the different subsystems and make them work more efficient and more effective. Of course, learn about satellite communications, because you can make code to communicate with the satellite with using different ground stations. You can explore any topic that interests you and learn more about it in this real life setting. You can gain experience in system design processes and protocols and engineering projects, because you're going to be working with real space hardware. This will be maybe an opportunity for you to develop new solutions, and maybe you'll be the one who develop a new product or a new service that utilizes satellite technology from your home. You can do that. Of course, this usually done in a team setting. So this will also develop your leadership skills as well as teamwork to help you with decision making and project management. It will also look very good on your university application, or if you're trying to do graduate studies, or if you're applying for jobs, you can put it on your CV or your resume that you have actually worked on real space projects, and you have developed code that has been executed in space with a real satellite. So who's eligible to be part of this? It's open to all students from all schools and universities from around the world. So you could be a high schooler, you can be undergraduate student, you can be graduate student, you could be a PhD holder, doesn't matter. As long as you have a status of a student, you are eligible to interact. Now, the way you participate, you can be an individual, or it can be a team-based, where you can form a team and decide to work together. We would like that you have a mentor, whether a teacher or university professor, or even a scientist, affiliated with a school or an academic or research institution, to help you and mentor you and support you throughout this project. All you have to do is follow this link on the slide. You can create a login. I will show you in the next slides how to do that. And then create an account, earn 20 points. So we require that you have a minimum of 20 points, and then you'll be eligible to submit the code that you would like to upload to space, and we will send it for you to the satellite once we launch it, inshallah, in April 2021. And then you will be able to execute your code and see the results. So if you follow the link, then this is what you will see. This is the web page. We try to make it more of a gamification, where it's more like a video game. You can register using your Facebook or LinkedIn or your Apple accounts. It's very simple. It will take you 2 minutes to create an account. Then once you're in this, you will see this platform. Then you can choose different missions. Basically, they're online courses and different topics within the space industry. And this is just a map of all the courses. There are online courses where you can view them and learn about space technology or space science. We would like you to earn 20 points. So each course or each session that you view, it's worth 1 point. So we require you that you view at least 20 of these sessions and learn them. And you get to choose any topic. So whatever you're interested in, if you're interested in engineering, then you can pick the engineering topics. If you're interested in science, you can pick the science topic, and there's many topics. But then at the end of each session, there will be a quiz just to make sure that you paid attention and you actually learned the lessons or the information in these courses. And this is just an example of some of these courses. They try. Of course, they're all in English, but they have demonstrations. There'll be live not live speakers. They're all recorded. So there could be humans talking, or there'll be demonstrations and information about different things, whether it's about orbital mechanics, as I said, engineering, or other sciences, or even about astronauts and astronaut training. And then you will have a dashboard where you can see the points you accumulated, what kind of mission you pass, and then you also can earn badges for completing certain courses. So this is basically what would like you to earn as a minimum number of points. Then once you have the 20 points, then you are free to choose any topic within the different major topics. So we have satellite communications, and those are just examples, and you can find them on the website. These are some of the things that you can work on, whether it's machine to machine, IoT. It could be about digital broadcasting, broadband communication, things about spectrum sharing and frequency reuse, encryption and security, and there are many topics that you can learn more about and develop new code or new protocols that could be of a value, commercially. There's also, learning about satellite operating systems or flight software, whether it's in data processing, storage, guidance, navigation, and control, flight software reliability and redundancy. So there are many topics in that domain. Also in the ground station, there's also many things that you can do with regard to ground station and in orbit tracking of satellites, ground-based satellite position determination, and then ground station networks. Also, we're open to other topics as well. So maybe you want to do some scientific investigation using some of the onboard sensors on the satellite, such as if you want to measure temperature, magnetic field, acceleration, or light. So there are some sensors that you can access, and you can create the code to collect certain information at certain time while it's orbiting, whether it's orbiting on the daytime or in the nighttime. You can even create games. It's all up to you. Because the satellites, it's orbiting Earth, and it's going all over different countries. So if you can find a way to create a game, that's fine. We will be willing to try that. Using satellite signals or data. To find more about this, please visit our website, orbitalspace.com/code-and-space. We have all the information available, and we'll be also responding to questions via email and social media. With that, I would like to conclude my talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bassam, for this great presentation. We will have some questions for all panelists. I'll start from the beginning. Shada, they have a question. Do you think online learning is really great tools for competency-based skills, especially in engineering, where physical, practical are more value than theoretical understanding. As you are an engineer student, do you think it's
Yeah, do I think it's challenging? I mean, it is challenging in a way that we think that, if we think about it, we're all working in the field as engineers when we're like fourth year and above, I guess. So this field work, it takes like it takes the technical aspect of the learning. It will be hard. I mean, we are online and it's a pandemic, so we can't really go anywhere, especially during if we had another wave coming of coronavirus that we'd have to be quarantined again. It will be hard to apply the theoretical, the implementations of practical work in our field. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I do hope that we find other ways to apply the things that we learned online. If we, I don't know, like if we use VR, virtual reality, in order to, if we provided students with such things, maybe in the future. But for now, I mean, things are not clear as how they will do it, especially for engineering students. But I do hope that we improve in that aspect, inshallah. I have hopes that we'll do that.
yeah? And another question: which strategies can be implemented to ensure we continue to force the culture of online learning? How we can improve the culture in online learning, like we keep it.
We can always have training sessions. I mean, in Kuwait University, they had training sessions for professors and students to keep updated on how to use things here and there. So if we started taking into consideration that the fact that literally not everyone knows how to use online, like you said, Dr. Ali, a lot of people have technophobia, and a lot of students do not know how to use things. So basically, if we kept going with the training sessions, maybe it will maintain the fact that students will be normalized with the idea of online learning. So yeah, I think that's one way to do it. I don't know any other way, unfortunately. I mean, if
All
anyone,
right. Thank you. Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Shada. I will have the questions. It's like I will have a comment on. Great hearing that online could continue even after pandemic is over. Yeah, I think as point of view of professors, like we find an online learning and online teaching is create some new dimensions for us to think about and how we create exams, assessment, and we deliver lectures. It used to be before, like once we have a conference or we have some meetings outside the college, we we cancel the lectures. But now you can have a lecture anywhere, anytime, and could be recorded. And recorded lecture, I find it very useful for students to keep revising, and if they miss something during the class, they can play the recorded lectures and benefit from it. I have a questions to Adnan. As digital online marketer, how do you ensure that you have clients coming back for more?
I think one of the strategies that we implemented during the development of marketing through the pandemic is to create customer tiers, which is some kind of a membership that you don't pay for. Instead, the more you order, the more you rank up. If you make 2 orders, you become a green member. And we chose green because it's part of our branding. If you make 4 orders, you become a bronze member where you get discounts on certain items, and so on to get to silver, gold, and emerald. So I think the answer to this would be, if you want customers to come back, you have to give uh, a unique experience to them, not only through the experience that they get when they buy a product, the experience they get when they come back to you, when they come back and see the appreciation that you are giving back, uh, compromising on your margins and giving customers more. This would make the customers happy to come back to us. And we used all the means in digital marketing to tell customers that yes, when you buy, the more you buy from us, not in terms of value, not in terms of money. It's the count of orders that you make. You try us once, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. The more you come to us, the more we give back. So I think the answer is, in a nutshell, giving back to customers.
Thank you, Adnan. And we have another question to Dr. Bassam. Given the increase of satellites in Earth orbit, won't we run into issues of a space crowdedness or situation where we cannot leave Earth at Earth's atmosphere? What is your view on this?
So as I mentioned in my slides, that these satellites are short-lived. So usually their lifetime is within 3 to 4 years, depending on which orbit you put them in, and they are by design that they're not supposed to stay for long, and they decay, and then they will be burned out and evaporate in the atmosphere as they enter the atmosphere, and this is because of friction. So so in general, yes, there's always a growing concern about this. So if everybody started launching these small satellites without regulation, of course we can run into an issue of crowdedness, and this is something that is being discussed at the international level, at the UN Office for Outer Space Affairs, where they put maybe regulations on how to make sure that there will be a fair use of space around Earth. Right now, when it comes to large satellites, they are highly regulated. So you need to get approvals, and there are specific slots allocated to specific countries. It's not simple to put a large satellite in space. But with the smaller ones, it's very easy, because as I mentioned, they're not supposed to stay for a long time, and then they will disappear. I hope I answered that question, your question.
Thank you. Thank you all, Adnan and Dr. Bassam and Shadaf, for participating in this virtual session, which is take part of IEEE Region 8 virtual SIP. It was my pleasure to be hosting you through a very multidisciplined talks, from online learning to digital marketing, and end up with a new dimension of coding in space. I'd like to thank you all and wish you a good evening. And we hope to host another sessions, and you participate, and we will see when you're launching the CubeSat Kuwait, Qamar Kuwait. Inshallah, we will have a sessions, and we talk about the successful of launching, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much for the hosting.
Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Ali, for hosting us today and giving us the opportunity to share our experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ali, for the great opportunity as a student. It's such an honor to be here on behalf of the IEEE in Kuwait University.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
evening, good morning, and good night.
Thank you.